BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
Xi Jinping, the leader of China, recently delivered a speech at a global women's summit in Beijing, where he lauded the nation's supposed historic achievements in women's rights. Addressing a gathering of dignitaries on Monday, Xi Jinping painted a picture of significant progress, citing a dramatic nearly 80% decrease in maternal mortality rates over the past 3 decades. He further asserted that women in China are now actively engaged in the nation's governance with an unprecedented confidence and vigor. This address was part of a 2-day event commemorating the 30th anniversary of the landmark UN World Conference on Women, which also took place in Beijing. It was at that 1995 conference that former U.S. First Lady Hillary Clinton famously declared, "Women's rights are human rights," a sentiment that continues to resonate with those advocating for gender equality in China today. Chinese officials leveraged Xi's remarks to showcase what they termed China's contributions to the advancement of women globally. As a tangible demonstration, Xi announced a substantial $10 million donation to UN Women, the United Nations entity dedicated to gender equality, and pledged an additional $100 million fund for countries in the Global South. This philanthropic gesture, alongside pronouncements of a glorious chapter of women's progress, stands in stark contrast to the increasingly restrictive environment faced by feminist activists within China. Despite a growing number of individuals, particularly young women, identifying as feminists and embracing feminist principles in their personal lives, public advocacy, and even open discussion of women's rights are facing severe limitations. Lu Pin, an activist who founded a prominent feminist organization in China that was compelled to cease operations in 2018, observes that while personal feminist choices are widespread, activities extending beyond the private sphere, including public discourse, policy advocacy, and collective action, are severely limited. Lu, now based in the United States since 2015, a period marked by the detention of several associates known as the Feminist Five following a protest against sexual harassment on public transport, highlights the chilling effect on organized activism. Under Xi's leadership, a broad crackdown on civil society has been implemented, accompanied by a discernible patriarchal shift in political representation. This trend was starkly evident in 2022 with the unveiling of a new Politburo, the executive body of the Chinese Communist Party, which notably excluded women for the first time since 1997. While societal attitudes in China regarding issues like divorce and workplace equality have seen some liberalization, the government consistently encourages women to embrace traditional roles of marriage and childbearing. This emphasis is particularly pronounced as the nation grapples with a declining birth rate, with Xi Jinping himself stating in 2023 that China should cultivate a new marriage and childbearing culture. The deliberate dismantling of organized feminist groups has not entirely extinguished advocacy, but independent bloggers and commentators addressing women's issues are operating under mounting pressure. Last month, the official WeChat account of feminist blogger Jiang Chan, whose articles frequently garnered over 100,000 views according to China Digital Times, was abruptly deleted. This incident occurred just weeks after more than 1,300 accounts on Weibo, a widely used social media platform, received temporary or permanent bans for what authorities termed inciting gender antagonism. One specific account faced a temporary suspension for expressing what was described as extreme anti-marriage rhetoric. In June, Weibo introduced a dedicated complaint category allowing users to report content promoting gender antagonism. Wang Huiling, a vlogger from rural Anhui province, gained significant online traction during the COVID-19 pandemic for her candid discussions about marriage, family, and female independence. Her experiences, rooted in a more conservative village setting, offered a different perspective compared to the predominantly middle-class feminist discourse emanating from China's urban centers. Wang herself noted that she was initially unaware of the term feminism when she began posting videos in 2019, driven simply by a desire to share the lived realities and struggles of women in Chinese society. It was only later that she recognized her own activism as part of a broader feminist movement and acknowledged women fighting for their human rights as feminists. At her peak, Wang commanded a massive following, exceeding 4 million on Douyin, the Chinese counterpart to TikTok, and reportedly garnered over 6 million fans across various platforms. However, the current extent of her influence within China is difficult to ascertain, as all her social media accounts were inexplicably deleted in January. In April, she was informed that her 2021 memoir, Grassroots Women, would